Tell me if you can relate. So you go to pray salah while you're at work, but you're rushing because your boss has put a timer on your worship. People are saying things about Islam. Maybe they're even talking in pro-Zionist terms, but you have to keep quiet to protect your job. If that sounds like something that you relate to, then don't worry. I'm not saying you're a bad person. It's just that you're in a bad system. Many of us find ourselves stuck in the rat race. We want to escape so we can be free, but at the same time, you need this work, otherwise you're going to be in a very bad place. So for that reason, I want to share with you an opportunity that I've come across from a brother who's helped so many people like yourselves break out of this rat race. The brother's name is Abu Lahya. He's got a very simple program. He helps people like yourself connect business owners to influencers, strike a deal and pocket the difference. Super simple, right? And guess what? Also super effective, Allahumma barik. But it's not easy. It requires a lot of hard work. His students have already made $3 million plus in combined income, mashallah, tabarakallah. And in the next year, they're projected to do $10 million. We've sent people from this very channel to go and join his mentorship, and their lives have completely changed. Most will make their first sale, inshallah ta'ala, within 90 days, and 96% of his students make money if they follow the roadmap that he lays out for them. These are real people. We're talking about fathers who are struggling to spend time with their children. We're talking about students who are struggling to get married. We're talking about slaves of Allah who wanted to worship Allah and didn't want to, worship a paycheck. We're talking about brothers that were one bill away from breaking. Now, the best part about this is that you don't actually have to leave your job. You can do this on the side until you make enough money, until that security is there with Allah's permission to actually make that change and become financially independent. Look, from this program, you're not going to become a millionaire, but what you are going to become, inshallah, is free. So in summary, if you're tired of rushing your salah because your boss doesn't like you taking long breaks, and you want to make good, healthy, decent, and consistent income, inshallah ta'ala, then you should definitely apply for Abu Lahya's mentorship at the link below, inshallah ta'ala. It's not easy to get into. They're super picky about who they let in. It requires hard work, but it works. It genuinely works. With that said, you can apply at the link below.
Alhamdulillah, assalamu alaikum. Imran, what changes have you seen in your parents as they've approached old age now?
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. When your mom gets older, she just wants to talk, man. Just generally, your mom wants to talk, but just is at that stage, she wants to have conversations. So I realized that dad just doesn't really want to talk. He just wants to make sure you're okay. You know what I'm saying? And every now and again, you take care of him. So
you say take care of him. Like, what do you mean? As in physically? Do you mean financially, emotionally?
All of it. You know what I'm saying? And what I noticed in my parents, especially my dad, I feel like he started to kind of feel maybe a sense of uselessness. My dad's always been so useful. Do you know what I'm saying? And he's been so useful to all of us throughout his life. I do sense this in my dad. Like I sense an element of him trying to find purpose right now to do something. Do you get me? That's one thing I noticed. One of the ways I tried to mitigate that is I just talk to him now. Recently, I've started this new thing of just usually I'm a person that's very extreme on a need-to-know basis. I only give people what they need to know. I'm very extreme when it comes to that. Especially parents, because something just stressed them and then they share their opinions and then it's like, oh, but they said it, so now I have to listen to them, but this is going to destroy my business if I take this advice. But, at the same time, so I would just tell them nothing. Now I just go, this happened today, that happened today. Like, stuff that's so boring, but it's interesting for them now. Do you get me? It's just being kept in a loop. Oh, we had a sale. Oh, yeah. No, Dad, I'm just tweaking the ICP right now. Just make them feel like involved in the conversation. Also, you'll realize that the older your parents become, the more they start to go towards being in need of taking care of them. Like, as Allah mentioned, when in old age, He returns you to how you started. So if you think about it, may Allah protect our parents and protect us from
Neglecting their rights.
Say that again?
From neglecting their rights.
That, of course, but from being, su'il kibr, which is growing old and being incapable of taking care of yourself.
Okay.
Like being, completely incapacitated, right? But basically, when you're young, how you are, you're not able to even clean yourself. In old age, you become like that as well. You know what I'm saying? May Allah protect our parents from becoming like that. We were told to seek refuge with Allah from reaching that in old age. But that's what happens to humans. And, you start to see an element of, like...
Become more dependent on you.
Not necessarily even more dependent. There's that element, but it's sort of like... Not that I'm saying you're the parent, but you've got to start coaching them through things. You've got to kind of step into that guardian role. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sam, what about you? How do you relate to that? Are there any other things that you've noticed in your parents?
Yes, I think I completely relate to it. So for my father, what I'm seeing is, even for very small topics, he wants to have a long conversation about it. I think it's just a matter of his way of getting attention, so I have figured that. So for example, when he came to Dubai recently, mashallah, we had one of the greatest times. He came, we had fun, conversations and everything. So for example, just the free SIM Dubai gives in the airport. Like we had a conversation 30 minutes about it. And I figured that he's just like prolonging the conversation, the pros, the cons. Why don't that country do it? Oh, because of that, they couldn't do it. Oh, okay. And he started a complete analysis. And I could see that he just wants to like have participation, engage, So 'cause first, after 2 minutes, I thought it was going to be like a 2-minute conversation. We moved to another topic. Then I realized that it became like a whole ride. We're going for John to Mirdif. The whole ride was about free SIM card. But what I figured, this is what, they don't know sometimes like what can they engage with us, right? So engage in with us.
What was it like previously that you're comparing it to this?
Before it was very cutthroat, like to the topic, don't waste my time type of deal. Okay, just finish your sentence, make it quick, frame it in the first 5 seconds. He was like very big on those. When people called and took like 40 seconds to frame their question, he used to get irritated. But I'm seeing now he's not becoming that, but he's like taking his time with things because he just wants the attention. So I completely relate to having long conversations because I feel like, and especially being in 2 different countries, and even when we were in the same city, Michigan, you don't see your parents. I wish I saw them every day. But we're seeing them every week, but for long periods of time. But even then, the gap is there. Yeah. And no matter how many FaceTimes and things you do, but in person, that connection is different.
If I could just add to that, right? Because some people find it genuine, like, it's not nice to say, but I just want to try and meet people on human terms, right? Even though it's wrong. But people get bored of their parents when they're older, right? Uh-huh. And it's like they don't find... much joy or excitement. Is boring now and whatever have you. And I feel like I got the hack now, alhamdulillah, to the point where I'm actually enjoying the conversations, right? It's literally with the mum, let her talk and ask questions. And with the dad, you talk and update him. Of course, he's going to talk as well, but in terms of like, what do we lead your dad will talk to you about what you want to talk about.
Yeah. He can, as you said, he can make the conversation.
Yes.
He can make it.
Dad, I did this today. I met that today. Brother, I met Dr.Imran today. This guy has a PhD. Dad, he's studying with Andrew Huberman. Yes. Do you know who Andrew Huberman is, Dad? And then he's going to tell me his thoughts and, neuroscience is all false. But the point is that I can honestly start the conversation with my dad about what I want to talk about. And with my mum, it's what and usually mum's got, you know what you'll get? You know what I get from my mum? Obviously, family tie is massive, right? Yeah. And I don't know what's happening with my sister. She'll give me everything. You know what I'm saying? And it's stuff that, as a responsible slave, you need to know that stuff.
Because you might have to reach out to someone, send out a message.
It's reliable. And since I've been doing that, I every day.
Golden.
Yeah.
For me, recently, my mom was here, right? Yeah. And, bro, I had, I'd say, one of the best conversations probably of my life with her while she was here. And it was literally I just basically got her to give me her entire life story. From beginning to end, because I haven't really had that. There's been snippets. I know about this happened at this period and this happened. I was literally just dissecting the entire, when she was living in Pakistan, what was life like there, just before marriage, how was life, when she moved here, how was life, when in the build up to divorce, like she was going through, literally, it was like I was watching a movie, literally just she's telling me, yeah, this happened. At that point, I was feeling like this, and then when the divorce actually happened, this is what happened, and then these are the particular, and like for example, certain family members who I see regularly all the time, right? I thought, the extended family members, I've got a massive family. I've got hundreds, like sometimes at weddings, it's in the four digits. Four digits,
bro.
4 figures. Yeah, 4 figures, like
The
over 1,000 people.
Just
Yeah?
unbelievable.
On some weddings, yeah, literally. That family
Over
is
1,000 people.
huge, bro.
Yeah, man.
And extended, and everyone's like, connected. But I didn't realize, like, she was telling me, like, this auntie, when she
We struggle to get 25 people nowadays.
25 people. No. My family's huge, bro. And she was telling me stuff like, for example, Khurram,
Yes.
my cousin who lives here. His brother, when we first got our 1-bedroom council apartment, when I was baby, after she got divorced and she became homeless, his brother did the painting for the entire yard. I didn't even know that. Like, for him to go out of his way to do that for my mum, like my respect and my love for him now is different. She was telling me stories about the way my dad's brothers supported her throughout the divorce, the way my granddad supported. When I say granddad, I'm talking about my dad's dad supported her, took her side, and I was just like, whoa, like some of the stuff I knew bits of, but the way he went into detail, and that reminded me of, there's that book, I had seen it online, I hadn't purchased it. I thought I purchased it, but it's weird that even the transition didn't go through. But you mentioned you have it. You just tell me your story or something along those lines. It's a book, but basically it's got like questions you should ask your parents before they pass away, right? And you can get all that information, because even in my mind, I was, when you mentioned the last podcast, or one of the last previous podcasts about parents, how many conversations do you have left, man, with your parents? If you take into consideration the average lifespan, how many of those years are left? How many of those conversations are you being able to have? And then add in the wild card that you don't know when they're going to pass away.
Yeah.
This could be your last conversation. So these are all things that, subhanAllah, man, really, really, really play on your mind.
What's the book's name?
What's your story? I've got it on my... I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I'll
Also,
send it to
maybe
you.
we can...
And I'll put it in the
There's
link
like a couple
in
of
the
questions you
description.
don't ask, like what's your favorite music, and
of course.
Yeah.
any haram question don't ask.
But even because I remember when my and I'm going to come to you in a second. Sorry, I remember this. When my grandfather passed away last year,
Allah yarhamu.
the trip before, because the final trip when we went, it was like game over. Like he was like, you couldn't really speak to him. He had very minimal interaction and stuff. But the trip just before that, a few months before that, like along back, he was active. He was talking and whatnot. And I remember one night we just sat down, and I just started asking him again, same thing about his entire life. Like, what was the happiest memory you have? And he mentioned that it was the day he got married.
Oh wow.
The day he got married.
Allah barik.
And what was the saddest day? He said when my parents passed away. SubhanAllah. I guess he got really emotional. He was talking about his mom, and it's like having those conversations.
Yeah, it's priceless, man.
Is even like just the other, like when my granddad came last time, we went to Jebel Jay, so I came on talking to the top of the mountain. On the way back, everyone was asleep in the car, just me and him awake. And he just started talking to me about the name Yusuf. Started going to the story of Prophet Yusuf, and he didn't clock.
Who's your grandfather?
My granddad on my dad's side.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I started recording, so he's telling the story. He's just getting emotional, like he's crying, telling the story of Yusuf, when Yaqub called out to him and this and that. Like it was, bro. It was subhanAllah, man, powerful. But those kind of conversations.
Yeah.
How do you go about creating the moments to even have those in the first place? Because some might be watching this thinking, well, I spend a lot of time with my parents. I don't ever get those moments. What do you think, Dr. Imran?
I'm going to say, subhanAllah, guys, like, honestly, this, I'm sitting here and I wish I had my notebook. I really do. I think the brothers watching this and sisters watching this need to really take a serious sit down with this podcast and take notes, because one of the things that I know in my own life that I struggle with, and I know many, many brothers specifically struggle with this, is they understand that they have duties to their parents, that we need to do X, Y, and Z. Maybe they can't eat like they used to, so we need to feed them a bit more, maybe supplement their income some more, maybe pay for all the bills if we need to physically have them and look after them, but we don't really take care of their emotional needs.
So,
like things that you guys have mentioned where you just sit and talk to your mum and dad. That's huge. Like, I'm probably going to be doing what Imran does now, and I'm like, Mum, I'm just going to update you, because my father's passed away, so my mum is my everything. And my mum and mum and I have been very, very close for a very long time.
When did your father pass away, sorry?
Passed away about 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Amin. And with my mum, my relationship has massively changed. Just with it, I mean, honestly, if I analyze it, I think every 5 years there's been a significant shift in the way my mother and I have changed our relationship from good to bad to good to bad. At the moment, alhamdulillah, it's in a very, very nice place in terms of this first part, being a dutiful son. I have no doubt, alhamdulillah,
like when I speak to my mom, from what I hear from her, she tells me, she feels that I'm dutiful towards her. Alhamdulillah. So I've got a lot of peace from that. But I'm always worrying about, I feel like I need to do a bit more. I feel like I need to do a bit more. And I think just listening to some of the ideas that you guys have just said here, the things that I'm going to be implementing, and I'm hoping, inshallah, this episode goes on, that we discuss this in a bit more.
One thing I do want to mention, because I don't want to paint a false picture when it comes to myself, I'm very bad when it comes to communication, like online. Like WhatsApp and this and that. Like I don't really do checkups or phone calls.
That's my weakness too, man.
You know, me, like in person, it's still, like I said, my mom came in person. We had
it's different.
But there's been times my mom's been upset with me because I haven't called her in like a week or two.
But this is a pattern.
Can I just comment on that?
Like with my dad, I might not speak to him for a month, 2 months sometimes.
Wow. But can I just say, because you're saying that, and you might want to cut this out, but if you keep it in, I don't want people to think that that's appropriate.
I'm not saying it isn't. That's why I said it. I'm trying to paint a picture. Like,
as in, if even me, like, I hate talking on WhatsApp. But if your parents message, a day cannot go by and you don't respond to them.
Absolutely.
As in, the whole world can get it. Do you know what I'm saying? And it might not even be a great conversation, but as in, like, a parent's message cannot go unresponded.
100%, brother.
It cannot go unresponded.
And I think this is the part where a lot of young men, and I know busy, successful young men, where in all aspects of life, and it's usually because their parents do us. I'll be honest with you, I cannot see myself being in this position without the dua of my mother so many times, saving me from so many things. And sometimes, the reality is so stark, it's right in front of your face. But this 100%, actually, what you're saying about a day cannot go past. And unfortunately, a lot of us, it's not because we don't want to. It's like, how do we navigate those tides and those storms where, how do you speak to your parents? That relationship's changing. Like right now with my mum, the way I do things, and this is how I've very much molded myself, and I think this works for me at this stage right now, and I'm hoping it'll help others as well, is you try and look at your relationship with your mum or your dad as your relationship would have been with your kids. In certain principles. First of all is your initial basis of they need X, Y, and Z. So have they eaten? Have they slept? Are they healthy? Have they got somewhere to stay? Are they struggling with anything financially?
It's like, what's that law of hierarchy?
Maslow's hierarchy of So that's one way of looking at it. And then you look at the next stage, which is essentially emotional needs. Now, we do this with kids. First thing we do with kids, we clothe them, we feed them, we make sure they're okay, they're safe, and then we start engaging with them. And it's not like always we enjoy it. I hate sitting there doing mathematical puzzles with Miriam. It's my worst thing. But I know it's good for her. She's enjoying it for some weird reason, but that's what she wants to engage in. So I will be patient and engage with her. You have to almost sometimes be like this with your parents. It's just how the mindset has to be, because they'll thrive off it as well. As we get older, our bodies are developing to its peak. Yeah. And we're talking neurologically as well. Yeah. Certain pathways are not open yet. So kids are not emotionally regulated in the same way adults are. The odd thing is, when you look at people later in life, they're having the same issues. Quite literally. Their bodies are now degrading the other way, but neurologically as well, we're seeing deficits. The same way we've got the template's already there. We know how we manage things with our children, the patience, the love, the care, the empathy. We flip that and apply it towards the later end of life, the latter end of life.
Yeah, but just to clarify, I wasn't talking about responding to messages they've sent. I'm talking about, for example, my dad, he hasn't messaged me, I haven't messaged him, a couple months will go by. But then when we do speak, like for example, just now in the car, I was on the phone to him, right? Great conversation.
Good. One of the signs of a great investment opportunity is not just the numbers, but who is investing and why they are investing. A good friend of mine, Sam, who's a real estate developer, Alam Barik, he manages $150 in assets. He manages $150 million in assets under management without riba, has recently introduced me to a lot of his investors, and I've been mind blown because I've never seen people wanting to invest for this reason. We have one brother who invested $1 million, let's call him Abdullah. And the reason why he did this is because he wanted to put that money into an opportunity that's going to bring passive income so he can focus on memorizing the Quran and raising his children. Then on the other spectrum, we have 3 friends from, let's say, the Netherlands, somewhere in Europe, and they came together and pooled their money and brought together $100,000 because that's the minimum requirement for his project so that they can start building wealth without riba. Then on the other hand, we've got brothers like a very senior physician in Texas who's going to be moving into the Middle East in about 3 to 4 years, inshallah. And he's deployed $300,000. And he didn't do it because he needs the money, but because he intends to do hijrah, inshallah ta'ala. He wanted to start parking off his investment. in advance. We have a brother in Australia, let's call him Farhan. He's currently liquidating all of his properties that he owns so that he can allocate those assets into Sam's projects. And finally, I'll mention we have a brother from the UK. He's a revert. He's given shahada to 20 members of his family with Allah's permission. And he's allocated $260,000 already into this project. And he's also in the process of doing hijrah. And the last one I'll mention is a brother from the US who managed $35 billion in assets under management. And he does not need the money at all. The only reason he invested is because he said the Muslim halal, riba-free, like actual Sharia compliant, not just wink Sharia compliant, but actual Sharia compliant ecosystem is really weak, and I want to support projects like this. One of the reasons why I'm so amazed and I support Sam Amin's real estate development projects is because he's already made enough money to be able to just live and never have to work again. In fact, Allah Barak, his passive income every single month is 6 figures plus. But he's genuinely trying to help Muslims escape riba and make generational wealth so they can do the things that are more important. And just seeing his investors, not money hungry people, but very successful, very well-to-do people who have the akhirah in mind. And for that reason, I wanted to share with you this last call to have an opportunity to invest in his most current project, which is Majan in Dubai. This is a crazy opportunity. We're talking, you have an opportunity to get in on this project where the land is just 1,000 dirham per square foot, and it's inshallah ta'ala going to be sold for 1,700 dirham per square foot off plan. Now, anyone who thinks that those numbers are crazy, it's because they are. He underwrit 70 plus deals to find an opportunity that was going to allow for these type of margins, inshallah ta'ala. So if you want to get in before the doors close, and they are literally closing because the land has been purchased, the architectural work has been done, and they're about to go and launch the off-plan selling. And once that happens, the door is shut, the door is closed. So if you want to get in, you can apply at the link below. Do your due diligence. This is one of the most open book guys I've seen. He'll give you numbers of his investors. You can speak with them. The only thing that I ask is just make sure that this is going to be a right opportunity for you. What I mean by that is that you must have $100,000 liquid, ready to deploy within the next 30 days, inshallah ta'ala. If you don't, then this would not be an opportunity that would be suitable for you, and it will be too late. So 30 days, got to have the money, at least 100K, inshallah ta'ala, and then hopefully you can be a part of a great legacy that's being built, inshallah, without riba. So apply at the link below.
But before that, we probably didn't speak for... In fact, we had one call actually not too long ago, but that was because there was actually a reason why he called me. Before that, maybe it's been a month or two, maybe. Like, spoken.
Barakallahu, I'm happy you clarified that. Yeah. Barakallahu. Look, to answer your question though, right, about how do you create those moments?
It's
very easy, bro. And we overcomplicate things. Put parents to aside, right, because it applies to everyone, even sisters. I remember I was in Canada once, and one brother, he mentioned an advice. We were just at our gathering in a brother's basement, and we were just talking about sisters, and he mentioned something that really, really hit me, man. And he was like, take your sister out on a date. Who here takes his sister out on a date? None of us. Do you know what I'm saying? He was like, if you don't take your sister out on a date, another man will. So, do you know what I'm saying? Now, when we say take your sister on a date, obviously it's platonic, it's a sister, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing sexual about it. But the concept of, bro, take your sister out, bro. Treat her like, give her everything that another man would, minus obviously the stuff that you do with your wife. Do you know what I'm saying? So, as in, buy her roses, bro. Buy a box of chocolates. Take her out on a date, bro. And that's the same you do with your daughter. And by the way, it's the same you do with your brother. I don't mean this in negating, like, it's just take your brother out. Yo, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? And now, same with your parents, bro. You do it with your son, you do it with your daughter, you do it with your sibling, you do it with your parents. So this is something that I've understood. By the way, this is an area I am trying to work on more, because obviously you need to take time out for this, right? But it's like, just, bro, usually you're spending time with them in a way. This is something I learned from Fawaz. Is like, everything can be operationalized in a way that's enjoyable. Do you know what I'm saying? We actually went through an activity. For those who don't know, Fawaz, he's a coach for CEOs, and he helps you optimize your work, your health, even your private life. So I told him, I said, listen, bro, I don't actually enjoy much when I go out with my wife and daughter, because all three of us want different things. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, my daughter wants to play around and move around. You can't control her. Like, you can't put her in a place. She's
a wild spirit.
Yeah.
Free spirit.
Yeah, bro. She's like just an atom bouncing around. Do you know what I'm saying? As for my wife, she wants to have conversation, look at pretty things, take pictures. And I hate, and I want to walk around. Do you know what I'm saying? And I want to be outdoors. So he was like, can you find things that have all three? So he goes, was there a time when you guys went out and you all had a great time? And I was like, yeah, like 2 times. He's like, what do those times have? And then we broke it down. And we're like, all right, cool. There was like 3 factors. Now, every time I go out now, weekly with family time, I look for things that have those 3 things in there. Do you know what I'm saying? So we identified somewhere we can walk around where there's nice things to look at. Where, you know what I'm saying? Like where things are constantly changing. Like I can't just stay in a place where my wife is just on her own, just in the shops. And my daughter can't be at the, friggin' soft play. And, me and my wife are just sitting there, like watching her. Like it's boring, do you know what I'm saying? Like we have to find things that all of us do. And sometimes you sacrifice. Like that with your parents, bro. Just find out what do they want to do. And you just take them out on dates, bro. And do it one-on-one, by the way. Because one might outshine the other. Sometimes your mum outshines your dad, Sometimes your dad outshines your mum. One-on-one time, bro. Do you know what I'm saying?
What are your thoughts, sir?
No, this is phenomenal, bro.
Yeah.
I without knowingly, pretty much do the same thing, and that's when you have the most quality time.
Yeah.
Actually, organizing it, what's the word you use?
Operationalizing.
I've never heard this word, by the way. That's good. Organizing it, structuring it, but still at the same time, being spontaneous. So lovely. Works out. Because, for example, my father enjoys good views, water views, this views. He loves nature. So taking him out somewhere where you can also enjoy something else, but there's nature there and you can get to have quality conversations. And sometimes, like, I don't encourage anyone doing that, but back in the days, cricket was a big thing in our house. Yeah, so I used to have good, fun time with my father.
You play cricket?
Huh?
You played?
No, I don't play cricket. I used to play soccer a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the sports update I'm going to give you.
Okay.
Got big update for cricket. To watch another podcast for that. But yes, find something where your parents enjoy, and actually also you can fit in a lot of things you enjoy, and it becomes very much fun.
On that note, you mentioned regarding parents, how you kind of not have to treat them like children, but there is that, you speak about guardianship, how it changes. I remember there was a video that I saw, this was like, this is actually the night before I started practicing. That's why I remember it. It's weird. Yeah, I think one of my uncles must have sent it, or someone on their WhatsApp story. I must have clicked it, watched it, and I remember it had me crying. It had me crying, bro. Like this was the night before I started practicing. I remember it clearly, vividly. Yeah, it was a video. It was a story, like an animated story of a father and a son, and they're walking through a park. And the son, he's asking the dad, what's that? And dad goes,
wow, you read my mind.
It's a crow.
Wow.
And then we'll walk up a little bit more. Dad, what's that? He goes, but it's a crow.
Oh, I know the story.
Ask him again, what's that? He goes, it's a crow. 30 times the child asks, and 30 times the dad says it was a crow. And he's got a journal, and he's just walking, and he's just writing in his journal, today, let's just call him Yusuf, for example. Today, Yusuf asked me 30 times, what's that? And I told him it was a crow. And then fast forward like 30 years, the son's now like 30 something, right? Dad's in his 60s or 50s, whatever it is. Dad calls son, what are you doing? I want to see you. Son's like, Dad, I'm busy, man. I've got a lot of stuff going on, family, work, life. What's up? Like, what is it? At least tell me what it is first before I commit my time to you. Because I just want to meet you. I want to talk to you. Something I want to talk to you about. I want to, He's like, all right, cool, whatever. Then come, let's go. So they go to the park. They're walking. Dad asked the son, what's that? Son goes, really? It's a crow. Like, what do you mean? What is it? Dad was like, oh, okay. He walks again. Goes, son, what's that? Points at another one. Son gets annoyed. Like, do you need glasses? Like, I just bought you glasses and this, and they start shouting at him, shouting at the dad. Dad pulls out the journal. And he just tells him, like, 30 years ago today, you asked me 30 times, what is that? And 30 times I gave you a smile and I told you it was a crow. You couldn't even manage to. So that concept, sometimes when you get swept up in life and, you get busy and your priorities do change, right? When you become a man, suddenly now you've got responsibilities and priorities and things are there. But you have to remember this, man, when it comes to your parents, there's a level that, you know, they deserve, that, you know, you can never, ever, 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 like, even reach the start of that, you know?
I mean, it's after gratitude to Allah, it's the height of gratitude, man. It's a massive test. Like, think about it, right? Human beings, by their nature, we've all experienced this, right? You give someone a loan, right?
Someone to watch that?
A loan.
Loan, yeah.
Yeah. How hard is it to pay back?
How hard is it to pay it back?
Get it back.
To get it back, for them to pay it back.
Yeah.
It depends on the person. Sometimes very hard, sometimes not.
I'm saying
It's harder
it's
than...
unreasonably common.
Yeah.
That they default on the...
Yeah, I've given you money. Why am I chasing you up for it?
Yeah.
Just, do you know what I'm saying? When people need it, they ask.
So,
But now he's, you know, forget this example. It's not a good example. Let's just go back to parents. People can understand it straightforward. When you're young, you're in need. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy for you to be good. Mom, dad, I love you, hug you, because they're constantly feeding you. They're doing everything for you. They're housing you. You know what I'm saying? When you get older, you don't need them now. Now you're big. Now you're bad. Now you're strong. Now you're financially independent. You actually don't need your parents. So why maintain the relationship? Now, when my daughter cries, when my wife is upset or I'm upset with her, it's because she needs us. That she needs mum to emotionally be present. She needs dad to be present. She needs to play. She needs food. She needs security. She needs things from us. She comes back to us. But eventually, when she's older, she's married, inshallah, she's got kids. She don't need, she gets emotional support from her husband, from her children. She gets all that. You don't need me. Why maintain the relationship?
The need flips.
Huh?
The parents, the needy.
The parents need, right? The parents need. But the thing is, parents always love more than the child. So the parents gave when they didn't need. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you're too busy giving to your kids, to your husband, or to your wife. You forgot your parents.
Sure.
And this is why I just love the way Allah describes it in the Quran. Allah said, وَخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ. Allah said, lower the wings of humility to them of mercy.
So,
You're an eagle now. Your dad, like, I'm not trying to use derogatory terms, they're like worms, right? Imagine on the earth, you're an eagle. You're an eagle, you're soaring. You know what I'm saying? They're ducks, just ducks on a pond. But this eagle comes down and he lowers his wing. Step on my wing, dad. Mina rahmah, from mercy. He doesn't need to. He could fly away, but he remembers. And then what's the next part? وَرَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. Allah have mercy on them. They used to take care of me when I was young.
so
They raised me when I was young. So because you remember they did that for you, now you don't forget. Which is why there's such a big punishment for the one who's not dutiful to his parents. Adab, akhi. That person will not see paradise, akhi. The person who is bad to his parents will not see paradise, akhi. He will not see paradise, bro. It's not a small thing. Because you weren't good. You weren't good to the one who you came from, bro. You're not good to anyone then. You know, a person who, he could be good to everyone. He's good to his neighbor, good to his friend, good to his kid, but you can't be good to your mum or dad. Akhi, don't deceive us. We know who you really are. You backstab your mum and dad. You're going to backstab me. Let's be honest. It's convenience right now. You know what I'm saying? Allah says in the Quran, وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. When they're old, وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ ذُلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ. Sorry, Allah says, وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. Say to them an honorable word. When I think about how you talk to your mum and dad, and think about how you talk to your friends. When you see your friends, hey, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Imran, Dr. Imran, the Mughal. Really, that's how we talk to each other, right? We talk honorably to each other. My brother Abu Bakr. You know what I'm saying? Supercar partnership. We talk about each other in an honorable way.
accolades and achievements.
Where's the honor with mum? Where's the honor with dad? Where's every time? Like, you know, one thing I try to do now, like small thing, I'm just giving examples. By the way, all the examples I'm giving, I am not a good son. I believe that. I've got so much to work on, but I share examples because I'm actively working on it, and then the example is practical. You know what I'm saying? So one way I try to do it, sometimes my dad is like talking, he's like, Imran, you've achieved so much, you've done this, you've done this, you've done this, you know, my son. And I'll be like, Dad, who did I learn it from? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's something small, but Dad, you taught me this. Dad, I didn't even know how to clean myself. You taught me this. You know, but answer the phone to your friends. Hey, Assalamu alaikum, it's been a minute. Mom, Mom, I'm gonna call you right back. No. It's not even that you talk honorably. Talk to her like she is this big person you're trying to get a contract from, they're trying to get investment from, they're trying to build a relationship with. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying all this now, you're not doing it because you need to. I don't need Dad. Dad's not going to give me an investment. I'm not going to get a joint venture with Dad. I'm not going to get a contract with Dad. You know? Like, bro, one thing I don't get is that students of knowledge, bro, sometimes. To their sheikh, kiss your forehead. Mom and Dad, nah. Because you're jahil. But you came from this.
You mentioned an interesting point. And I'll ask you about this, Sam, which is, Imran mentioned towards the beginning of the podcast about how the dynamic slightly changes towards their later life, where you kind of have to adopt a little bit of a guardian type role also, right? When you're young, like now, if my son doesn't want to eat or he wants to do something, if I tell him yes, he does it. If I tell him no, he doesn't do it. My word, my way or the highway.
Yeah.
That's it. But as your parents get older, there's going to be times now where you disagree with them. They might be wanting to make a decision and you believe that it's the wrong decision. You can maybe see something that they can't, right? How do you disagree with your parents in a way that is still respectful, in a way that's still, you're not crossing any lines, in a way that maintains that relationship? But at the same time, there are times when you have to put your foot down a little bit and say, that's not a good idea. Or that's not going to happen, I'm sorry.
Right, Sheikh. Quickly before this one, just quick point on
sure.
what Brother Imran mentioned. This is so profound. Like actually using the accolades and actually praising them. And sometimes also just a cheat code on that. It's also effective if a third person does it. Using your example. Let's say if my wife praises my father, saying, man, Sam is doing this, XYZ, mashallah. He tells me stories about you, how you taught him, and that's why he's using that. So that works even. Say like, oh, he told you that? Oh, yeah. I used to actually teach him that. Yeah, actually.
Right.
Then they're like, man, he talks about me.
Big
So
time.
that goes a long way too. Even with your friends, spouses, whatever. Like share stories of the past and actually encourage them. Like when you see them next time, tell them like, this is why I'm actually doing good because of that. So this goes a long way I've seen. But just to answer your question, I think this is a very important question, especially if somebody is in their 20s, early 20s and watching this, because that's when you don't have data, track record to prove that what you're thinking is right. And it has actually happened with me when I was 21 years old and I had to convince my parents to move outside of New York and move to Michigan. I could not disclose to them why, right? Because only I know what's happening in the streets. Only I know that incident of the night I shared in the first podcast that I did not go, and whoever went, half of them got felony, other half in jail. Like their whole life trajectory changed. And I'm hanging out with these guys every weekend. They have no idea. I'm not coming and sharing with them what I'm doing on the weekend. Now all of a sudden I come to them and say, we have to move. We have to move out of New York City. And they're thinking 21-year-old guy. What does he know? We don't know anyone in Michigan, and I chose Michigan. We don't know anyone in Michigan. All our families, aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody's in New York. What does he know? So that convincing, subhanAllah, I did not have the, I should say, tarbiyah that I have now. So maybe I was not the best way explaining it to them. But alhamdulillah, by the mercy of Allah, it has worked out to be better for us moving to Michigan. Now that track record is there, after that, it became much easier to explain. For example, the second one was, I was 22. I was like, I need to get married. Like he just convinced us to move from New York to Michigan. And you have nothing on your name. And for Bangladeshi, as Dr.Imran, 22 is like, bro, you're just a baby. What do you mean get married? Wait till 32.
Yeah, man.
That's Bangladeshi culture, right? So even then, they're like, but I knew this is what's right for me. I just need to get married, keep things halal. But once those two worked out to be better, after that, alhamdulillah, like it didn't have to be even much discussion. They say, we don't understand anything you're doing, but
it's working.
It's like, it's working, let's do it. Even up to now, like when we moved from America, my father was genuinely scared. It's like, man, you have built all this. We saw the hard work and everything it took by the blessings of Allah. You have all this now established in America. Now, if you move, all these collapses, people leave, this happens, that happens, betrayal. And then you are not, Allah forbid, able to successfully set up things in UAE. Then you come back to Michigan and there's nothing left for you because everybody, all the crows took everything, what would happen. So he was genuinely scared, but at the same time, inshallah, you'll make it happen. He gave the prayer. So he did not like argue and they said, don't go, I'm telling you not to go. But he was very skeptical. Alhamdulillah, but because the track record was there, he prayed and alhamdulillah, he said, inshallah, let's do it. So I think in the beginning, to short answer to your question, when you have to be really, you would be inshallah lucky, like Dr. Imran mentioned, if you're in your late teenagers, early 20s watching this, because at least for me, I did not have these kind of advices. I was kind of like a rebel. Like, I need to move to Michigan. I could have definitely done a better job explaining to my parents. So it's much harder when you don't have a track record and they have all the right to doubt you. And probably 9 out of 10 times they're actually right. But that one time you were right, you just have to patiently and like explain to them and do your thing, inshallah.
If I can also add to this, because this is something that does stress a lot of people out. Parents are supposed to obey them as long as they don't tell you to disobey Allah, right?
Yeah.
So they don't tell me to disobey Allah. I have to obey them, but then this thing, if I obey them, it's going to harm me. Might harm my kids, might harm my business, might harm them. Dad says, I don't want to go to the hospital. No, Dad, you have to go to the hospital. No, I'm your father, obey me. Okay, so you leave him to die? The dad says to you, for example, no, send the kid to school. No, Dad, I want to homeschool. No, send the kid to school. He doesn't understand. Okay, Dad, I have to obey you, but it's going to harm your daughter now. So there's this is something that I think is, I ask people to fear Allah, to not take advantage of this ayah, right? But after Allah Azza wa Jal mentions, this ayah, lower the wings of humility to your parents and speak to them a good word and everything, and so on. Then Allah said, رَبُّكُمْ أَعْلَمُ بِمَا فِي نُفُوسِكُمْ. Allah knows what's inside of your heart. As in you, the son, the child, Allah knows. إِن تَكُونُوا صَالِحِينَ فَإِنَّهُ كَانَ لِلْأَوَّابِينَ غَفُورًا. After mentioning be good to your parents, Allah says, Allah knows what's inside of you. If you are righteous, then your Lord is, to those who turn back to Him, forgiving. What does that mean? What's the connection here? After Allah says, don't say uff to them, lower the wings of humility to them, say to them a good word, make dua for them. Then He says, Allah knows what's inside of you. And if you're righteous, then if you turn back to Allah, Allah is forgiving. What's the connection? What do you guys think?
Assuming if you overstep your boundaries in trying to protect them or disobeying them, you can return to Allah.
It sounds like, if you do have to do one of the previously mentioned stuff, like disobeying them or whatever, as long as you're doing it from a place of righteousness and khair.
Place of righteousness. Like, for example, parents are refusing medication, but you have to force it. You have to force the medication to them. Your parents are diabetic and they keep drinking, for example, things that they shouldn't, like soft drinks.
Right.
No, Dad's switching. I'm sorry, Dad. But what people don't realize is at this moment of disobedience, this is disobedience. You've got to disobey them in the most honorable way.
So this is the question.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. So, for example, I'll tell you how just share an example. I can't remember what the situation. There was a moment in my life I remember I had to disobey my father. I remember I said to him, and I got teary-eyed because I have to, because I'm humble now. I have to humble myself. This is my dad. This is my king. Do you know what I'm saying? And I was like, Abba, you know me. Anything you tell me to do, I'm here to obey you. I'm your servant. But this one I can't. And it's only because I'm doing what Allah and His Messenger want. It's the way you do it. It's not no, mum, no. It's haram, mum.
Yeah.
No, it's but wallahi, Abba, it's so hard to say no to you. And I don't say no to you for anything, but this one, my dad, you know what I'm saying? It's the way you do it, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes my dad will say certain things to me, like to do, like from a business perspective. And in my mind, I'm thinking, by the way, a lot of the times he's actually right. A lot of the times he's right. Like, I remember I was going to hire someone once and I hired someone. My dad was like, no, it sounds like you're paying him too much. And I was like, no, this guy's a corporate guy. He's got a big background, trust me. But my dad, he told my mum to call me 3 months later. Why has he hired this guy? Tell him, sack him. He's paying him too much. And I was like, I shouldn't have told him. You know what I'm saying? Now he's forcing me to sack him. But in the end, my dad was right. It took me a year later and a lot of money spent to find out he was right. But point being is that if you actually are right, that's another conversation which maybe we can dive into, which is how do you know you're actually right? When you're going to disobey them, which is why you should go to scholars, which is why you should go to ulama, which is why you should go to experts, in the field. Don't make the decision from yourself. Speak to people who are scholars, mashayikh, people of knowledge, and people who know that particular thing, doctors, educators, and then from that, hey, is my dad right? Is my dad wrong? Sheikh, am I allowed to? Am I not allowed to? Don't leave it to yourself to make that decision. But point being is, when you make that decision, bro, you do it honorably. And you say no to, you do it honorably. And by the way, sometimes your dad's going to be, or your mum's going to be upset with you for weeks, for months because you disobeyed them. Sometimes you're disobeying them because you're obeying Allah. For weeks, for months, they're going to be upset with you. And they're going to maybe even cut you off. You show up every day. I've been in a situation where, alhamdulillah, didn't last for long, but, dad just doesn't want to chat to man. So I would just call. I would leave voice note. Abba, you're upset with me, just letting you know I love you. And I'm here. Abba, I'm not going nowhere. Abba, the way you would for a girl if you were whipped. If you're whipped, bro, you text, please answer my phone call.
I wouldn't know that, bro.
Huh?
I wouldn't ever know that. So
alhamdulillah, but you understand the concept, you know what I'm saying? But if there's someone you do that to, it's for mum and dad, you get me?
Generally speaking.
So one last point. One last point I want to mention. Because now I'm saying this, innit? I'm making it sound like it's going to be easy. You're going to go sit with your mum, dad, everything's going to be roses. But sometimes you got to be a politician. Because sometimes dad's difficult. Sometimes mum's difficult. Like there are some people that got toxic relationships. They're going to go sit with dad and he's going to complain about the kids. He might complain about the wife, Mum might complain. These are real life things. They happen. Do you know what I'm saying? And sometimes they're going to command you to do things that you want to disobey them in. You don't even have to let them know you disobeyed them. You got to be a politician. Like one thing I do sometimes, if they want me to do something, which is I'm not going to do that. It's not beneficial. I could say I'm not going to do it, but that's going to create a fuss. It's going to make them upset. Can I find a way to not do it, not tell them? One thing I do, for example, is, inshallah, I'm going to come to it. Just wrapping up a few things. Next month is a bit hard, but I'll come to it next month, inshallah. And then you're probably going to forget about it. They'll remember it 2-3 months later. There's some stuff for 3 years I've just been pushing it down the road. I've just been kicking the can. Inshallah, yeah, I'm going to come. It's funny, you're right. I forgot. I should have done that. I have to do it. I have to do it. You know what I'm saying? Just be a politician sometimes, bro.
You touched upon, because you mentioned, generally speaking, your relationship with your dad has been good, right? There's a few issues here where you said you had to disobey or whatever, and some people might have toxic relationships with their perceptions, but it's a bit different for you.
No, that's not the case, bro. We've all been through it.
But some people more than others, right? So Dr. Imran, for example, you mentioned in the past, right? You had a very rocky relationship with your father, right? I know a brother in my family, right, who got currently very bad. He's in his old age. He's got bad relationship with with a lot of his kids. Some of them, they're not talking terms at all, right? If you ask them, they'll say that they did this and they'll say that they did this. But the point is, it's all what advice would you give to a person who, let's just say, they feel like their parents are in their old age, but for them it's like, no, like my dad violated me, my dad was rude to me, abused me physically, emotionally, this, that, or my mum, or whoever it might be. I don't want anything to do with them. What would your advice be to a person in that situation? And if you don't mind, you can maybe share some of your own experiences.
I mean, there's a big part of this where we have to delve into being a bit selfish sometimes. And I don't mean selfish in the sense of you're taking away from their rights and what is owed to them. Because there's no doubt this should not be any sort of, we're not doing them a favor. This is very much what's owed to them in the rights of their parents. The same way your kids have rights, your parents have rights far more so, only second to Allah. So there's no doubt in that. But beyond that, there's a level of, you have to ask yourself, how operational can you be? Sometimes the trauma can be quite deep. Some people find they suffer spiritually because of the trauma that's been left on them. Like, I'll give you an example, and we see this in the Bangladeshi community quite a lot. When the Bangladeshis tend to do salam, they do this thing where they touch their feet.
Yeah.
This became a point of contention in my household to the point where my sisters were banned from the house. If you're not going to do this, don't come to the house. So now, how do you reconcile? You are literally being told to do something which is very, very close to what some scholars have actually said is shirk as well, because you're going down and bowing down doing this, or you don't come to the house. This happens, and this is more commonly so in the Bangladeshi community, and it's becoming less now because obviously we're getting more newer generation. But that old generation, my mom and dad's generation, they were super strict on this, man. We couldn't get a word in sideways to explain that it's not okay. So this is a small example, but there's many more other examples as well.
Can I ask you a question? Yeah. What could one do that is in the sight of the parent equally as honourable, if not more, but not that?
But to that,
for as in, really, so honor thing is called, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what can, like, for example, this
doesn't always work though.
Huh?
It doesn't. Sometimes for them, it's this specific thing is from our.
But the thing is,
culture.
I'll give you an example. Yeah,
go on.
I'll give you an example. Let's just say, I want a car. I really want a car. Really want Mercedes S-Class, right? I want it. you know, we have an agreement, you're going to give it to me. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, but you give me, you give me a Maybach. You give me something better. Am I going to be upset?
No.
So my point is that how can you apply that type of thinking with your parents? Sometimes they're saying, I don't want this. Do you know what I'm saying? So I want this. And you can't give that for whatever reason. Can you give better? I know the example is very, very clear. It's very basic. But I'm saying this type of mindset, this type of thinking, we're very like, no, I'm not going to do that. Okay, cool. You're not going to do it. I get it. But what can you now do that's better? Maybe it's not even in that same category, i.e. greeting, but something else. Like, you know what? Dad will take a hit. I'm not giving him the greeting that he wants. And I can't find a greeting better than this one in his eyes. But what else does he need that I can go above and beyond in? He might even be upset for a bit. It will soften him up. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's this type of thinking that's important.
That's one side of looking at that particular equation. I suppose can be looked at from that perspective where we're trying to find a more magnanimous way of honouring them. Yeah. Absolutely. But I think the point of that particular example was related to this question where how do you, when you're in a toxic situation where you've had a very bad experience with your father, your mother, how do you circumvent that and still honour them?
Yeah.
I suppose that's the question. And the reason I use this example particularly, I was trying to show that this is a level of toxicity where it's affecting you even spiritually. It's not just your business is being affected, your relationship with your wife is being affected, or your relationship with your kids are being affected, or socially or physically. Yeah. This is something that's affecting your relationship with Allah. Your deen, you know, your deen, the most vital thing in your life. So what do you do? So for me, I found a couple of things. One, the first thing I established very clearly, and again, if you have to go to a scholar, you have to go to a scholar, but I think this is innate. Biologically speaking, this is innate. We're mammals, you know, we live in a hierarchical system.
Find someone higher than them.
Yeah. There is, we have an innate biological drive to do certain things for our parents anyway. Oftentimes we're fighting ourselves. This is the odd thing. Living in this day and age, we are literally fighting our own nature when it comes to duties to parents. Look at the care home system, for example. I was very fortunate and unfortunate at the same time. In my early career as a physiotherapist, I spent a lot of time in the community, which meant I was visiting old people at home, old people in the care centres, in the care homes. And it was a deeply, deeply depressing atmosphere, honestly. You can smell the stench of death throughout this entire building. And, you know, I came across some elderly people, wallahi, they used to ring and book for appointments just because they wanted someone to speak to in person. I saw this one lady once and she said she hadn't spoken to anyone in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, she hadn't spoken to anybody. Her daughter lived in the same town.
And that's someone's mum.
Her daughter lived in the same town. So and then we see we see how the impact that this has had on this population that's doing this. Care homes are a new thing. Go back 50, 60 years ago, these weren't prolific. People look after their parents. They follow the natural instinct of their biology. We get old and we expect our offspring to look after us until we pass. That is how it works. We've seen it throughout the animal kingdom. It's something that's been ingrained within us, within our societies. It's just a done thing. Most houses were built with what in mind? My parents are eventually going to live with me. Do I need an extension? Do I need a bigger property? Not just because I've got kids living with me, but my parents eventually live with me. This was the concept. We lived in a tribal situation. Now, how do we get rid of that burden? How do we pass it on? You know, so care homes, prolific now, huge. What are we seeing? Look at the society that is developed off the back end of this. Lazy, unable to work, you know, serious health issues. I want to speak about health and how we can be dutiful to our parents in this aspect. Is very important, and I'll touch on this in a second. But the health issues coming back from it, the levels of depression that we're seeing, even the economy that has affected the Western world. If you look at the economic status compared to the growth that we're seeing in the other parts of the world, a big part of it is because of the generational thinking. How they are thinking, okay, we're thinking, oh, how do we progress as society? Parents are included in that. Here, how do we individually live a great life, forget the parents? Yeah, our pets are more important than our parents. Physical part of it, just going back, is very important. Yeah, my mum, my mum right now, she's going through a physical, want of a better word, metamorphosis. You know, she's realized she's been finally scared enough by the physicians that, you know what, your health is really poor. Blood pressure, diabetes, osteoarthritis, back pain, you know, all of these things, all reversible at this stage. So what I really want to do is bring my mum here for 8 weeks and just put her into like a fight camp, bro. Quite literally.
Fight camp.
Like literally. I'm just going to say, Mum, me and you, every single day, we're going to work out. I'm going to get a PT in. I'm going to get a physio in. We're going to fix all. It's all it'll take. From her current metrics, in 8 weeks' time, I reckon I can have her doing pull-ups at the bar. genuinely.
Allah barik.
You know, but that's 8 weeks of my dedication to her. That's how her whole life changed. Suddenly she won't be dependent on others to help her wash, clean, dress, feed herself. She can go out for walks as much as she wants. Her mental health will be better because her physical health is better. How many of us sit there and think about their parents like this? My dad died in his early 60s, you know, because of for no other reason but poor health. Obviously, without a doubt, time of death is fixed. Yeah. But the quality of life when he was passing away was really something that scares me now. You know, 3 heart attacks, 2 strokes, you know, one side completely kind of paralyzed, can't walk, heavily diabetic, COPD, so chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder, so where your breathing difficulties. Honestly, and quality of life is really poor. Struggling to get up and down the stairs, struggling to sit for long periods of time, struggling to stand for long periods of time. Couldn't go to the masjid for salah, couldn't spend time with the kids. What do you think that did to his mental health? That crashed that as well. So one thing I'm really fearful for my mother, and this doesn't fall into the category of these are duty bound to do this for our parents, but I think we should really consider this, look at their health in depth, really consider their health.
If you don't mind me asking, did you manage to reconcile with your father before he passed?
Unfortunately, I didn't know. I wish I knew what I know now, just in terms of what's possible, you know, how much can be changed. It doesn't mean you forget what happened, or it doesn't mean you forget the traumas of the past, but you learn to be a bigger person, a better person. The longer you hold on to those traumas, the more it pulls you down. I've seen this time and time and again. You know, I'm seeing it in myself and I'm seeing it in clients now. So many of the problems that they face in their lives, in their relationships, in their intimate relationships, are because they cannot let go of so many traumas they have in the past. And they're holding on to them for no other reason but because I deserve to have recompense for this. My ego is not letting me get past this. So we have to remember, we're in this world for a test. Yeah. No test is easy. We are slaves of Allah. Bring yourself down to that base level and then ask yourself, what do you deserve, what do you not deserve? Let go of these traumas. Suddenly you'll see all your relationships get better.
What would you have done differently knowing what you know now?
With my dad?
Yeah.
I probably would have sat down and had a very honest conversation with him. You know, sometimes parents need, tough love. Yeah. I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. Be respectful always. Like Imran said, that level of, that can't be emphasized enough. Yeah. A mark of a good, and learns from the army actually, a mark of a good soldier isn't just following orders, but is when also give the warning signs as well. You know, as a platoon commander, I was always like, my guys, I always said to him, listen, you see something, you notice something, you feed it back up the chain. Mm-hmm. I need to know. You're my eyes and ears. So when you go to your parents, you talk to them in this manner. Look, I'm doing it for you. I was thinking about this actually, about your health, mum. You said to me the other day, you wanted to go back to Bangladesh for 3 weeks and see this and see that. Well, why don't we put a program together? I think this will really help you and let's do it. That's a respectful way of saying it to my mother, as an example. So I wish I had a time where I could sit down with my dad and gone through a few things that were real issues in our relationship, but in a very respectful way. I think that could have gone a long way.
What do you think you would have said?
I think you would have been very stubborn. I think you would have been fought.
What do you think you would have said?
What I would have said, I probably would have started by saying, look, Dad, a lot of the things that's happened in the past, I'd like to let go of it. I'd like to know that moving forward, that this is not going to be a problem for us. Are you okay with it? Because I know you're holding a level of guilt as well. Because I think as you got older, it became softer. You see this in our parents, don't we? Yeah. We see those harsh qualities kind of mellow. And they suddenly realize that, I shouldn't have been like this. I shouldn't have been like that. So they probably are feeling...
But it's hard to have that conversation.
It's hard.
It's kind of like an unspoken...
It's a very unspoken,
understanding or agreement.
And bro, what's unspoken? It's a huge problem. Yeah. What's left unspoken is definitely misunderstood. Absolutely. Definitely. At least if you speak about it, you're giving yourself a chance. And these are your parents, bro. They want the best for you. Ultimately... Unless there's psychopathic and there's some psychological disorder, they want the best for you. Whether they understand it or not, they want the best for you.
Whether they know actually reality what is best or not, a different story.
That's a different story.
But they still want what's best.
They still want the best for you.
So
absolutely.
When your dad's telling you don't be an entrepreneur, get a job, he's coming from, he genuinely believes from the bottom of his heart that you will ruin your life if you go into entrepreneurship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe he tried it himself and he failed, that you don't know about. Maybe he's seen other people go and fail. Maybe he was working a labouring job and he wished that, one day he took an oath that my children will never do this. They're going to become doctors and lawyers. You don't know what he went through, right? So that's something you need to keep in mind. Anything else that you'd mentioned, if you don't mind me asking? Just because I know there's other people that are going to be watching this that are in a similar situation, but they don't know what to say.
One thing I will say, I'll be the devil's advocate here. Like, respecting your parents doesn't mean you have to have this picture of them that everything that they're doing is perfect. Because I think one of the pictures that we're painting here which we should have, is a level of love and respect for our parents. But this picture shouldn't be painted that they are not human either. Yeah. And we don't have to learn everything from them, and we don't have to adopt everything that they're doing. We just have to be respectful to them and honor them. It's very different. Yeah. Very, very, this distinction cannot be emphasized enough as well. There are many, many things that I do as a dad now that I do only because I didn't see that was the opposite of what my dad did. You know, the way I deal with my kids, the way I sit with them, my eating, my drinking, my playing, all these things. My dad never took and sat and played with me. He never took me to a football game or a cricket game, or, you know, despite playing these things himself. You know, he was involved in martial arts as a young person. Never did this for myself. You know, his perspective or his way of being a dad was, I'm going to go to work. I'm going to come back from work. You will listen to what I say. I will drop you to madrasa. I will drop you to school. This is the function.
This point you're making shouldn't be complicated. We have bosses. Well, some people. But you know, you have a boss, or you have some who's just not nice to you, but you still respect him.
Yeah, because they're senior.
Because they're senior, you respect the hierarchy. Right? There might be, for example, like a particular ruler, and you know what the Prophet taught us: "Sam'an wa ta'a," hear and obey. Right? But you know, whatever. We see this day to day, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? A police officer stops you, bro. You know, in a non-Muslim country where they are, you know, not great people.
I think,
but you give them that respect.
The difference, I think, is, I mean, I've never been in a situation, I don't know, but I feel like it would be harder because there's a level of betrayal that this is the person that was supposed to be. There's people that have been sexually abused by their parents.
We're not talking about
been physically. I'm saying violated, dipped in freezing cold water and beaten. And it's more common than you think.
If someone has been sexually abused, for example, like someone's father's a pedophile, that's a different that's a different story, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, even in the Sharia, that father can
good to mention.
forfeits. But then let's talk about that as a topic. I don't want to intertwine the two. We got to completely separate. With there's psychopath, right?
Yeah.
Shaitan. Do you know what I'm saying? Then there's father that's oppressive, even.
Yeah.
Two different things, bro.
Like oppressive meaning like overly strict,
rude,
harsh,
insulting.
Yeah.
You know, insulting, makes your life, all that is completely different to a pedophile. Do you know what I'm saying? Because we separate those two.
Okay, yeah. I mean, pedophile is an extreme example, but like there's even a level of physical abuse, right? That would you not say? Like, for example, there was that I saw recently in the news again. Somebody came up, that girl Sarah Sharif, who passed away. She was like, how old was she? 6 or 7 years old, something like that.
That was heartbreaking, man.
And they used the iron, bro. Yeah. They used to burn her with iron.
I mean, Allah killed them, bro.
Yeah,
I mean, they're dead now.
No, they're still alive. But
if they did what they did, Allah.
Yeah, there's no.
But that's a different story. But you might look.
So that's my point.
There's a category.
So we have to distinguish what category are we referring to when we discuss
There's
this.
a category where your behavior is so oppressive, it literally forfeits your right of guardianship. Right? For example,
the other issue though is if we talk about this, there's people who their parents do not fall into this category.
That's what I'm saying.
And they're going to then say, oh, that's my dad, therefore I don't need to do X, Y, Z.
Which is why you have to go to a judge. Yeah. A judge makes a decision. Well,
Muslim judge.
Muslim judge. Yeah, Qadi. You go to a Muslim judge.
Or go to the Crown Court.
Go to a sheikh, go to an imam who's knowledgeable and say, let me be real with you, right? You say that your father is doing this, your mother is doing this, and let them judge, bro. Let them let you know. You know what I'm saying? And they'll make that decision based on Allah and His Messenger's rule. But what I do want to say is that, alhamdulillah, the vast majority of people are not like that, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know something that someone said to me? So, you know, a brother said to me, and I believe this is a beautiful manifestation of obedience to your father, right? Even if he's not good to you. You know, the brother who gave me that, you know, he said to me, he said, Imran, you know what a righteous son is? A righteous son is not one who says to his dad, I hear and obey when things are good. A righteous son is the one who his dad's got a stick and he's beating him. And he beats him so hard that the stick falls out of his hand. He picks it up and he says, here you go, dad. So that's a righteous son.
See, I understand where that's coming from, but I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
Why don't you agree with it? Why don't you agree with it?
So you're saying a righteous son is the one who gives the stick to his father to beat him with?
Not just, we're talking the highest level here. We're talking, this is birrul wali, this is ihsan. Well, it's easy to be good to your...
Are you saying, do you agree?
It's easy to be good to your dad when he's good to you.
The next question, do you believe it's haram for a father to smack his son with a stick?
I believe is of course he's of course, yeah, if he's physically beat, of course haram.
So why would you give it the stick back to him? I don't understand.
Ihsan, akhi.
In haram.
It's not haram, bro.
I just asked you, is it haram? You said yes.
But you're forgiving him, right? You're
You know what it is? Because you also don't want to look. There's people out there that are genuine victims.
Akhi, look,
You don't make it. It seems as if you're making them like. Not that it's your fault, but it's like you should not just take it, but facilitate it. Like, I don't understand.
we're not saying facilitate. You're looking at it too analytically. Akhi, this is not necessarily a real life scenario. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that in your mind, you only want to be good to your parents if they're good to you. That's easy. I'm saying if your parents are not good to you, right, you still must be good to them.
If they're not good to you, you must be good to them. I agree with that.
Right?
Yeah.
But
the
the example that you gave,
it's showing obedience, showing submissiveness.
Yeah.
I know, but courts are dangerous.
A man who can pick up the stick and say, "That's a man, bro. That's a
let's
boss,
take this
bro."
to a scholar.
Yeah.
Say again?
Let's ask Sheikh Asim al-Qurayuti.
Yeah,
Let's
ask him.
ask Sheikh
Ask him,
Diyallah.
100% ask
I
him.
think
One
I agree with
thing
that
I would say, I think,
What are your thoughts on that?
okay, so on
I just want to finish my point, if that's okay, because this might give you a little bit more context.
I'm scared now. Go on.
Okay.
Finish your point, but
Okay.
I'm gonna have to start leaving stuff from this podcast, bro.
No. There are three things. By the way, I don't believe hitting your children is ever appropriate. I don't hit my kid. Never. I don't rate people who hit their kids.
Don't worry, that's the founding fathers.
Yeah. That's
Leave it to next week.
yeah.
How to discipline your children.
Yeah, the Prophet never touched
Sallallahu
a kid, never touched a servant of his, never touched a wife of his. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when it comes to this point, there are three things that your mum did. Why does your mum have a right over your father?
Why does your mum
Three times the right over your father. Why?
your mom
over your father, as in to you?
Yeah, over you. What? Your mum has three
right over
times the
you?
rights over you than your father does. Why?
Yes.
3x. 3x.
because my mommy in it.
But why?
She gave birth to you.
She done three things that your dad never did.
Carried you.
Number one, she carried you
In the
and
womb.
destroyed her body in the process.
In the room, yeah.
Number two, she brought herself to the brink of death when she gave birth to you, right? And she went through the pains. Number three, she weaned you for 2 years, bro. You couldn't crap, you couldn't pee, you couldn't vomit, you couldn't eat, bro, without this woman being attached to you for 2 years. Those are three things that your dad will never have over your mum. That's the level that she has.
Yes.
So let's just say that your mum is a witch minus a W out of B.
Huh?
She's a witch minus a W out of B. Assume.
Okay.
She's a witch minus a W out of B.
Okay.
Right?
Is it W in the- Okay, so
Yeah.
what?
I'm just
I
saying,
was
let's
a bit
assume,
confused.
let's
What?
assume.
Yeah,
let's
okay,
assume.
right.
No matter what she's done to you now, does it outweigh the good of carrying you for 9 months, giving birth to you, and weaning you for 2 years? Does it outdo that? Until it outdoes that, shut your mouth. That's why we say things like sexual abuse is in that category. Murder is in that category because now they're wiping out, or they're not necessarily wiping out, but they are seriously putting the khair that they did to you at risk. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, now, your father, he hasn't done those three, but you began from his loins. And you came from your father's loins. Huh?
Have you made your point? As in, now you're emphasizing the point, but the point's been made.
No, but
I
the
understand
point needs to be emphasized. Which is
we
that
don't have time for
you
emphasizing
come from
it.
this man. Do you know what I'm saying?
No.
So now it's easy if you just turn around.
Very quickly.
Okay, but I want to mention something at the end.
Okay.
I would say it.
You let me finish my
I
point.
think
It's rude.
it needs to be emphasized, no doubt on that. I think there is a level of,
Time.
and I think the reason it needs to be emphasized to this extent and more than this is because the other extreme is present as well in far greater category. Right now, the trend is disrespecting your parents, quite literally. That is the fashionable thing. That's the trendy thing. That is the alpha thing. That I'm bigger, better, stronger than my parents, and I know more than they ever did. So I think this level of emphasis can't be overemphasized. But going back to one thing that I'm just want to clarify on, this whole point of a level of self-harm comes into this. Okay, you are respectful and dutiful to your parents to the point where there is no harm happening to you as well, because it's you have to bear in mind as well that you are also a creation of Allah.
No greater harm. I
No
would say.
greater harm. Yeah.
No greater harm.
Yeah, like for example, like
Harm's cool, bro. Firm the harm, but it's the greater harm.
for example, if your
It's the
parent
lesser of two. If the harm is the lesser of two evils, cool. But when the harm becomes the greater of the two evils,
yeah.
that could be
So
a
I'll
problem.
give you an example. You visit your father. Every time you visit him, yeah.
Go on.
So I won't use the sticking example. I'll use it for example. You visit your father. Every time you visit him, it's a very demeaning conversation. This happens all the time. Let's say, for example,
You're worthless.
yeah,
you
you're
haven't
you're
achieved
feeling very
anything. Why did you drop
neglected.
out of
Yeah.
uni?
So how do you now mitigate that? You spend less time there. You still go, or you make the time very different where the conversation aren't able to happen. Maybe spend more time doing something in the house, or speaking to your mum more, or changing the circumstances of your visit. This is important because now what's happening is just because you're trying to be as dutiful as you can, you are now putting yourself in this toxic situation time and again, and that's having no benefit to anybody. Or you become the sort of son And this is something I was going to emphasize earlier when we were talking about this whole concept of how much do your parents trust your judgment. If I said to my mom and dad, Mom, we're leaving New York tomorrow, I'm 21 years old, let's go do it, are they going to actually listen to you? Yeah? What does that entail? In the same way, your kids look up to you and they trust your judgment because of the sort of man you are, the sort of parent you are, what you've accomplished, whether it's financial, intellectual, spiritual, emotional, very important. Are you the sort of son where you're 30, 40 years old, your parents are hitting old age? Now they look at you and think, you know what, I can trust him to lead. Are you at that level? Ask yourself, are you still the guy that's living in their bedroom, you know, that doesn't know how to wipe his own backside yet, still asking mum for that £10, £20 a week? Where are you as a man? As a 30-year-old, where are you sitting?
You know, if you ever have a toxic relationship with your dad or your mum, well, actually, this I think this works with dads more than mums, but just pay the bills.
Pay the bills.
Oh,
honestly,
100%.
honestly,
Just pay the bills, bro.
Wallahi, like, honestly,
The day you start paying the bills,
it makes,
dad's still gonna give it to you, but it's just
honestly,
pay the bills.
it makes such a difference. Man.
He trusts you, everything. He's gonna disrespect you less when you come to the house.
Just wanted to get Sam's thoughts on.
I forgot where I read somewhere. The first stage of life, you idolize your parents. Second stage of life, you demonize them. Third stage of life, you humanize them.
That's so powerful.
Yeah, so because the
That's
second
very
stage,
powerful.
teenager, early 20s, everything they're saying is wrong. At the end, when you become parents, you realize, okay. But I think two categories here. Sometimes they're doing wrong with you is one, or they're doing wrong either amongst themselves or outside. I think that's we can do another episode on that. That gets very complicated. They're a great mom to you, but they're doing something you figured out like it's not acceptable, right? So what do you do then?
Even I wanted to do things about preparing for
That's
their
what I'm
death,
saying.
and there's so much more. You have run out of time, but you want to give
Yeah, I
the
just want to
final
mention,
word.
look, someone and many are listening and their parents are dead.
Yes.
Their parents are dead, right? So, a couple things. The Prophet ﷺ said,
Sallallahu
and please stick around, yeah, because I don't think you've heard what I'm going to share with you. وَلَدٌ صَالِحٌ يَدْعُو لَهُ. The righteous child who makes dua. Your dad and your mum should come on the day of judgment perplexed and confused, even if they were bad. Where does all his good deeds come from? And they'll be told, my son made dua for me.
Or my daughter.
Or my daughter made dua for me. You know, a person should not, if your parents are dead, may Allah have mercy on them. I mean, there should not be a single sajda you do in which you don't make dua to your dad, to Allah for your dad. Not to your dad, make dua to Allah for your dad or for your mum. There's not a single opportunity between the adhan and the iqamah except you make dua for them. Right? There's just not a single moment you raise your hands and to make dua, just mention them. And then there's specific dua from Surah Al-Isra, وَرَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. You know, Allah have mercy on them, they took care of me when I was young. And then you remember how they took care of you and they pushed you to make more dua. The last thing I'll mention, since we're talking about sometimes parents are abusive and this, that, and rude and kada and so on and so forth, is a hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, a man passed away and the janazah was happening and the Sahaba was saying, he was like this, he was like that. Like just saying reality of the person, he was a bad person. And the Prophet said, wajabat. It's happened. This man's going fire. You said he was evil, he's done. Another group of people were going, another janazah was going by and the Sahaba were like, this man is great, he was such a righteous man. The Prophet said, wajabat. It's happened. This man's going to Jannah, inshallah. You lot are saying he was a good man, it's done. Then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Antum shuhada'ullahi ala al-ard, or kama qal, that you are the witnesses of Allah on the earth. You are the witnesses of Allah on the earth. So scholars took from this, someone passed away, don't say bad things about them, if they were Muslim. You know why? Because it's it. If someone says, you know, and you know, like my dad's this, or whatever have you, that's it. It's done now. You're the witness of Allah on the earth.
That doesn't make sense.
You are witnessing this person's evil after his death, and the Messenger said, "You are the witness of Allah on the earth."
As in, if
you're testifying to his evil, right?
Let's say if a person was righteous,
yeah,
but I talk bad about them after their death, they're going to the hellfire.
Habibi, there's a hadith of
we don't have time for this.
You're doing the blue thing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to explain it quickly.
Okay.
Of course, if someone is unjustly saying something about someone, Allah's not going to make it like that, right? Okay. We're talking about a situation where it wasn't one or two Sahaba. It was all of them were saying, every time you hear about this person, someone's dead. Every time, there was one guy who died in the ends. Every single person you speak to says, yeah, the guy was a shaitan. No one has anything good to say about him. We're talking about that type of situation.
The legacy that you leave.
Yeah, that's what you're known for. So scholars mention, if your parents passed away, someone passed away, anyone, just don't say anything bad about him. Even if 9 people say good and you're the one person say bad, you just don't want to be in a situation where you're contributing towards witnessing negative for that person on Allah's earth. Do you know what I'm saying? So one of the best things you could do for your parents after they died, but just mention them in good. Mention them in good. And yeah.
Good.
And also send salah to the Prophet ﷺ, because the Prophet mentions them by name. He mentions you, son of so and so. The angels mentioned.
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.